Hi everybody, welcome to Dr. T's Yoga. We're going to start today lying down on our backs. So hopefully you have a mat, set it up somewhere comfortable and make your way into a lying down position. You can have your knees bent and your feet about mat distance apart and let your knees fall into the center. And let the hands rest on the floor, maybe palms up. And start to just take some slow, deep breaths, beginning to arrive on the mat. Maybe some audible sighs in and out. Slowing down the breath, getting ready for practice, giving yourself the gift of just being here for the next hour or so. Paying attention to the breath now, breathing in deeply through the nose, filling the lungs in all directions. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale fully, pausing again at the bottom of the breath. Continuing now to breathe in that 4-part breath very slowly and fully as I speak. Noticing maybe how your back feels on the mat today. Trying to begin to relax the body, relax the shoulders, relax the face. And making note of how it feels when you take these deep, full breaths. How does that make you feel? And setting an intention today to breathe fully as we move. Yoga is about moving consciously with breath. It's much more about that than about how far you can get into a pose. One more deep breath in and out. And now begin to bring your knees in towards your chest, wrapping your arms or your hands around your knees, giving yourself a big squeeze, and making some slow, gentle rocking or circular motions on your low spine in one direction. Breathing the whole time, and now in the opposite direction. And now allow the left foot to come down onto the floor. Keep the right knee pulled in. Flex the ankle. And begin to extend that right leg up into the sky. Attempting as best you can to keep your legs straight. And as you flex your toes toward your face, you're going to feel a really beautiful stretch in the back of the leg. Breathe a couple of times here. And now allow that foot to come down and cross the right ankle over the left knee, opening up the right hip. Maybe take your right hand and push away with your right knee. I can't see the screen. And now inhale to a figure 4, bringing your left knee in towards you. Perhaps you take your hands and make them come together around your left shin, flexing both ankles, and pull in with those hands towards you, pulling the left leg in, at the same time energetically moving the right knee away. And you can sway a little bit back and forth here, beginning to get a really good stretch in that outer right hip and thigh. Inhale again. As you exhale, let the figure four come down onto the ground. Allow the arms to come to a T. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let the whole shape come over to the left side. So the right foot is going to be on the floor. Stay here or take your left hand, place it on your right knee, and gently push your right knee away. Now inhale the whole shape back to center. Allow the right leg to extend up into the air and then bring it all the way down to the mat straight. And let the left leg straighten next to it. And just notice for a minute if there's any difference between the side that you just worked and the side that you haven't yet. Just notice. Now we'll bring the sole of the right foot and the left foot back onto the mat. Take the left knee, inhale the left knee in towards your chest, flexing at the ankle. And then exhale that left leg up, just like we did on the other side, really flexing at the ankle and allowing there to be a really beautiful deep stretch along the back of the hamstring here. Pause here and breathe. Breathe in again, and as you exhale, cross that left ankle over the right knee, opening up the left side, taking the left hand onto the left thigh and pushing it away, flexing the whole time with this ankle. Figure four. Figure four is just a really great way to get a deep hip opening. Now inhale the whole shape up towards you, perhaps lacing the hands around the right shin, maybe rocking back and forth a little bit. The further in you bring your legs towards you, the deeper the stretch. And if you don't want quite as much, let there be less movement towards your body. Now allow your right foot to come back onto the floor and twist the whole figure four over to the right side. Now take your right hand onto your left knee and gently push that knee away. Breathing the whole time. One more big breath in. And allow the whole shape to come back into center. Extend the left leg up into the sky. And as you exhale, let it come down onto the floor. Now extending both legs along the ground and windshield wiper your feet to just relax the legs for a moment. We'll come back into bent knees. And what we're going to do is, when we begin to give ourselves that big squeeze, we're going to start to rock and roll along our spine as a way to eventually come up to a seated position. So just let your body have a little momentum here, trying to move with breath, and eventually make your way up towards a seated position on your mat. And you're welcome to sit either flush on the mat or use a cushion. And using the cushion, sitting on the edge of it elevates your sitting bones a little bit, and when the seated bones are above the knees, that's actually a relaxing way to sit. For some people, several cushions will be more comfortable. So if you have tight hips and this doesn't feel good, stack several cushions up and sit on top of several cushions, or even sit in a chair. So hands now are grounding down at the knees, and take a moment to just feel the extension of the spine straight up. Imagining that there's a string right on the top of the head that's gently pulling all your vertebrae up so they stack right on top of each other. But keep a slight tuck in the chin so you don't hyperextend the neck. Feel here the ground beneath you. And take your right hand and place it on the ground next to your right hip. And inhale the left arm up, and a nice stretch, side bend over to the right side, opening up the chest so that you're gazing up towards the left hand. Inhale, exhale the left hand down, and we'll do the exact same thing with the other side, bending over towards the left. Again, opening up the shoulders so your gaze is up. One more breath in here. Exhale back to center. And now we're going to do a twist. So left hand comes onto right knee. Take a moment as you inhale to really straighten the spine up. And as you exhale, twist over to the right, letting your right fingertips tent onto the ground behind you. Take a few breaths here, and with every inhalation, come out a little bit and let the spine straighten. And with every exhalation, see if you can wring out that twist just a little bit more. Twists are very balancing. It's a motion we don't typically do in our everyday life. And they tend to be very relaxing. One more breath in, and as you exhale, come back into center. One breath in and out just to refocus here. Now take the right hand, place it on the left knee. Inhale the spine straight, and as you exhale, take your left fingertips, tent them behind you, and twist over to the left. Again, with every inhalation, straightening the spine, and with every exhalation, doing a little bit more twisting. And on your next exhalation, come on back to center. Give your shoulders a big rounding upward, and then let them melt down your back. We spend so much of our day with our shoulders up around our ears. This is a great opportunity to really notice and try to bring them down. Okay. We're going to make our way into tabletop position now. So get your cushion or your cushions out of the way and set them aside for now. And we'll set ourselves up into tabletop, which is hands and knees. And just take a second to get the form right. So wrists should be right under shoulders. And make sure that there's a little micro bend in the elbow. Many of us like to lock our elbows out, and it's not good for our joints. So little mini bend. Fingertips are widely spread and really putting weight evenly on the mat and all fingers. And knees are right under hips. And the spine is straight, gaze is down. And we'll begin to move in cat and cow. So when we inhale, we'll come up to cow. Inhaling, our tailbone comes up, chest comes forward, and gaze comes up. Exhale down to cat. So head drops, tailbone drops, and tucks under. Push away with your hands. Let the gaze come down to your thighs. And we'll do several of those with our own breath. Inhale up to cow. Exhale down to cat. Really getting some nice mobility in the spine here. Inhale, cow. Exhale to cat. And then come back into neutral spine. Allow your right toes to creep back onto the mat or onto the floor, keeping everything else exactly still. Now inhale the right leg up and cross it over towards the left side, putting the toes on the ground. Now breathe in, and as you breathe out, twist yourself over your left shoulder, taking a look at that foot. It's another kind of a spinal twist here. And come on back with the legs straight behind you, and then place the right knee back on the ground. Now inhale the left toes onto the floor behind you. Lift the left leg up, then exhale as you put the left foot onto the mat. Big breath in, and as you breathe out, turn around and look again at the other foot. So you're looking over your right shoulder now at your left foot. And inhale the left leg up straight behind you and bring the knee back down. We'll come down into child's pose for a moment. So knees are wide apart, big toes are touching, and let the hips really sink back here. Walk the hands forward and let the forehead come down onto the mat. If the mat feels far away here, by all means put a block or a pillow or a couple of pillows underneath your forehead. And see if you can melt your armpits down towards the mat. Big breaths in and out here. Really let go. Child's pose is a resting pose, and it's a pose that, as we flow through practice, you're welcome to come back to if you want to take things down a notch. So take another deep breath in and out in child's pose, and then come on back up into tabletop. And we're going to do a spinal balance here. So right toes creep their way back to the floor right behind you like we did before. Inhale the left arm straight up, so the bicep is by the ear, the thumb is facing up. Now inhale the right leg up, flexing at the ankle, and feel your balance, and imagine that someone's pulling that hand forward and pulling the leg back, attempting to keep the hips square and facing in the same direction. And breathing. And bring the whole thing back down. Breath in and out. Now we'll inhale the left toes back and allow the right arm to extend forward, lifting the left leg up, again, trying to feel the energy going in either direction here. Gaze is down. One more breath in, and bring hand and knee back onto the mat. Tuck the toes under and come back into a beautiful, if slightly intense, stretch of the feet called dukkha. And if this feels really uncomfortable, you can undo the feet and come down onto your extended feet. But If you can flex the toes, it's a really great stretch for the plantar fascia, which a lot of people have trouble with. A couple of breaths here. Again, maybe roll the elbows up, the shoulders either, and let them melt down the spine. And let's come forward again into tabletop position. Uncurl the feet and just kind of bang your feet on the ground for a second to release. And maybe do a little release of the right wrist here and then a little release of the left wrist. For people who have wrist issues, making a fist and coming down onto fists is an alternative. So remember that if you feel any discomfort in your wrist. We're going to come up now into our first downward facing dog. So what we're going to do is tuck both sets of toes underneath. And as we inhale, we're going to lift just a few inches above the mat, keeping the knees very bent. And as we exhale, we're going to straighten the spine, pushing the tailbone back towards the back corner of the room, keeping the knees bent here. And then start to walk out the dog, meaning we're going to alternate having the knees bend and really trying to just the whole time extend the spine as much as possible. Eventually perhaps coming into stillness, but the knees can be bent as much as you need to. This pose is about straightening the spine, not about bending the knees. And come on back down into a child's position. Get off your wrists for a minute. Maybe put the forehead down and grab your heels here. Massaging your forehead on the mat. The middle of the forehead is, in the yogic tradition, it's the third eye, which is the seat of our intuition. Making our way back into tabletop, tucking our feet under, and we'll come up into downward facing dog again. So inhale, lift, exhale, extend back. Paddle the dog. Come into stillness, and we're going to come into some movement here. So the next inhalation, the right leg will raise straight up behind you with ankle flexed, and as you exhale, bring the right foot to come between your hands and let the left knee come down, and we'll come up into low lunge. So make our way up, both hips face forward here. And if you like, you can inhale your arms up, allowing the hips to really stretch forward. In this position, the right knee should be right above the right ankle. Maybe the gaze is up here. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down to frame the foot. Come on up onto your back toes. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, walk that left foot up to meet the right and come into a forward fold. So grab your legs or your ankles, let the elbows be wide, let the weight come into the forefoot, and allow the head to just rest down towards the floor. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, we're going to slowly, one vertebrae at a time, come on up into a stand. Arms will come up into sun arms. And exhale back down. We'll inhale our arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat or blocks. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, hands back down. Walk the Legs back into a downward facing dog. This time, inhale the left leg up. Exhale, allow the left foot to come forward, right knee comes down, and we'll come back up into low lunge. Feeling our extended arms really energetic here. Breathe in. As we breathe out, hands come down to frame the foot. Allow the right knee to come up off the floor, and then walk the right foot forward and come back into a forward fold. Inhale and exhale back into standing position really slowly. Arms overhead and come back to heart center. And we're going to do that again a little bit more quickly this time, building a little bit of heat. So inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands and into downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, low lunge. Really finding that stretch in the left hip during low lunge. Exhale, hands come down. Left foot comes up, forward fold. And slowly back up to standing. One more time on the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, low lunge. Exhale, hands down. Step forward. Forward fold. Slowly coming back up. And hands come back to heart center. Beautiful. And shake it out. Maybe windshield wiper your arms and just sort of flop them around a little bit to release everything here. Notice if you've generated a little heat. We're going to do some warrior sequences now. So begin in Tadasana. I'm going to show you, Sophia will do it facing, come to the front of the mat, sweetie. I'm going to just face the in this direction to demonstrate. Tadasana is mountain pose. So feet are about hips width apart, and all four quadrants of the feet are pressing into the mat, engaging the front and the back of the thighs, engaging the belly, letting the shoulder blades melt down the spine, and hands are active at the sides, gaze is forward. So it's a seemingly nothing pose, but it's actually kind of an energetic mountain Tadasana pose. So we'll begin the front of the mat in Tadasana. And then we're going to step the right foot back about 3.5 feet, allowing the right foot to be at about a 45-degree angle, and allow the left knee to bend so that the knee is right over the ankle. Take the hands on the hips and point them forward. Bring some weight into the outer part of your back foot. We're going to come up into Warrior One, inhaling, arms up. Again, this is an energy pose. The lower part of the body is grounding down, and the upper part of the body is lifting. Warrior One. Breathe in here, and as you exhale, we'll open to Warrior Two. Now the hips are facing the side of the mat. Make sure the knee stays open. Hands are facing down, and there's a lot of energy coming through the fingers. Inhale, we'll reverse the warrior, flip the front arm forward. Everything else stays the same, and as you exhale, bring the left arm up and the right hand down onto your leg. Big side stretch here. Inhale. Exhale, back to warrior two. Let the legs straighten for a moment. And from here, we're going to do triangle pose. So what we'll do is the hips go off to the right, the arms and the trunk go to the left until we can't go anymore, and then we'll open up arms and rotate the shoulders so they stack one on top of the other. You're welcome to have your hand on your thigh here. If you have blocks, this is a good place for blocks. And come on back into warrior two. And now hands to hips, and we'll open up to the side, allowing the toes to face in and the ankles to face out. And there's a very wide stance here, so you should feel balanced. Change your stance if you don't feel balanced. Hands are at the small of the back. Inhale the chest up into a back bend, and exhale, hinge at the hips, allowing the hands to come onto the mat. If it's comfortable for you, move the hands so that they're back a little bit, about in line with the feet, and play around with weight, maybe letting the weight come into the ball or the front of the foot, which will really allow the head to come down further. Another inversion here. Inversions are deeply relaxing, getting all that blood flow to the head. Now plant the right hand under your face and inhale to a twist, opening up the left arm up. Gaze follows if that's comfortable. Exhale the left hand back down, and inhale the right arm up and twist over to the right. And then let the right hand come down. Heel toe the feet slightly more together, this time with toes facing out, knees are open, and we'll come up into goddess pose here. Goddess pose, the pelvis is tucked under, the knees are open, and the arms are like in goalpost position. Inhale up to touch hands, and then exhale back to goddess. Twice more. And then hands to hips, and carefully heel toe your right foot back up. And we'll meet back in Tadasana at the front of the mat. Breathing here, noticing again, generated some heat. And this time we're going to step our left foot back to begin the warrior sequence on the other side. So hands to hips, turn those hips to face the front. Bend deeply at the knee. If this doesn't feel good for the back knee, you can come up into high lunge, which is just easier on the joints. Inhale, sink down into your warrior one or your high lunge. Maybe there's a little back bend here. Breathe in, breathe out to warrior two. Again, paying attention to that front knee, don't let it cave in. Inhale, flip your warrior. Exhale, reverse. Inhale back to warrior two. Feel your strength in warrior two. Allow your right knee to straighten up. And we'll come into triangle. Inhaling, shifting our weight forward. Exhale, allow the right hand to come down anywhere on the leg and opening up the left arm to the sky. Stacking the shoulders here. Inhale back to warrior two. And now we'll bring the hands to the hips and open up into the other side of the mat. I'll turn around just to demonstrate, but you'll be facing the other way here. So to begin with, once again, toes are in, heels are out, and there's a very wide stance. Hands are at the small of the back. Inhale, the chest up, tucking the chin. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Perhaps you have blocks that you put your hands on. Perhaps they come to the ground. Perhaps your elbows bend. And see if you can get your head all the way down. Some people who have a practice may come into headstand here. You okay? Doesn't always work out.
Sometimes you fall.
Sometimes you fall. Take your time. Come back into flat back here. Good job. When you're ready, we'll heel toe our feet back in so the toes are pointing out. The knees are open, and we'll make our way back into goddess pose here. Tucking the pelvis underneath, so it's a flat back. And we'll do the 3 extensions. Beautiful. And we'll heel toe the feet back up, shake it off. We're going to do a balanced pose here. So we'll come into tree pose. Tree pose is, you can do it on the mat or you could do it on the floor. Sometimes there's, you have an easier time balancing on the floor. The other thing is you can go to a wall, and even one finger on a wall can really help with balance. So think about what you'd like to do, and it's nice to have a wall as an option. So, tree pose, we want to choose a drishti, which is a focal point for our eyes. Choose something that isn't going to move. And begin to focus the gaze there, and bring the weight onto just the left leg. There should be a little bend in that left knee. And maybe just practice first lifting the right leg up and putting it down. This should give you an indication of how your balance is today. And if you need a wall, go find one. Sometimes I use one. And we'll regroup now, and we're going to go into the tree pose. So I'm going to give a couple of different options. We're going to be opening up the right hip. And the placement of the right foot can be either on the ground with the toes tented and the heel against the shin, or you can lift up like higher. Or if you are used to this pose, you might come into the higher yet with the knee open here. So find your gaze point. Tighten up those belly muscles here and gaze at your drishti. And imagine now that your left leg is the trunk of a tree. And it has roots that spread in every direction. And the tree sways in the breeze, and sometimes you'll fall, and that's okay. If you like, inhale your arms up to have the branches of the tree. Exhale, hands come back to heart center and bring yourself out of it and kick it out. Good job. Takes a lot of concentration. We'll do it again on the other side. So once again, find a point, a gaze point. Start to bring the weight into the right leg this time. Open up the left knee and the left hip and allow there to be a little micro bend in the right knee. And remember that both sides are not always the same, so you may choose the exact same variation or a different one. So come into whatever feels comfortable on this side. Maybe it's lower, maybe it's higher. Sometimes one side is easier to balance than the other too. Imagine the roots of your trunk really spreading out through the earth, giving you a very solid foundation. Inhale if you like farther to grow the tree branches. And exhale back to heart center and come out. And again, do a little flipping and flopping, lifting the heels to release the spine. Very good. Okay. Let's make our way now to the back of the mat and have the feet more than hips distance apart. So the toes are about at the edge of the mat here. Hands come to heart center, and we're going to come into a yogi squat. So for some people this is more comfortable than others. Feel free to simply lower your seat onto a chair if the yogi squat does not feel good for your body. Inhale and exhale, begin to make your way down, allowing the pelvis to come down between the hips. Maybe the biceps hook on the inside of the thighs, pressing those hands together, and it's another hip opener. And now come back into tabletop position.
You can try crow, maybe?
You could try crow. Crow's an advanced pose. I wasn't going to do it today, but good job. That's a beautiful arm balance that Sophia's doing. But what I was going to do is we're going to move into pigeon. So we'll start in tabletop and hook our toes under and come up into downward facing dog again. So inhale, exhale, straight spine. Now lift the right leg up and then bend the knee and really open the hip. So stacking the hips one on top of the other, flexing at the foot, and maybe now making some big circles, 3 big circles in one direction with the knee. 1, 2, 3. And then open back up, and then close it and come on down to down dog. Paddle it out for a second. Now, we'll do the other side. Inhale, left leg up, bend the knee, open, stacking the hips, and make 3 big circles in this direction. Really lubricating that hip joint. And then come on down. And we'll come back into child's pose again before we do a pigeon. So knees are wide, big toes together, and just melt down onto the mat. Catching your breath, trying to really let the hips sink back. Big sigh. Let it go. Make your way back into tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the whole shape up into downward facing dog. We're going to come into pigeon, so lift the right leg back up, bend the knee, and bring the knee to land between the hands. And then allow the left leg to extend fully behind you. For some people, this is more comfortable than others, so feel free to use a pillow under the right hip if that helps you, because what we're trying to do is really get the pelvis to be right between the hips. It's also a good idea to flex the ankle here in the front to protect the knee. Put the hands right on the floor. Inhale, chest forward, and this is king pigeon. Big breath, and as we exhale, we'll come into sleeping pigeon, allowing the body to come down, maybe onto forearms. If you have further to go, you might use a pillow to let the head come down. Or if you have pretty open hips, you can make a little tent with your hands and let your forehead rest on those. And we're going to stay here for several breaths. With every inhalation, make sure you're feeling square. And with every exhalation, really try to soften and let go. What can you relax here? This is a deep, deep hip stretch. Try to let go, relax. Breathe into any areas of tightness. If this position is a no-go for you, a really good alternative is a figure 4 like we did at the beginning of class. So lying on your back and putting your ankle over your bent knee and then just lifting that shape forward. Inhale back up into king pigeon and then come eventually into downward facing dog and really kind of just let that hip have a little movement again. And when you're ready, come back into stillness and down dog. Inhale the left leg up, bend the knee, and bring the bent knee to land between the hands, walking the right leg back. So your shin is like at an angle here, foot is flexed. Inhale here, exhale, find your king pigeon, and maybe this is as far as you go, and that's a great pose. If you want to try more, if you feel like your hips have it in them today, and that's really not necessary, but it's an option, you can start to bend your upper body across your left thigh, folding and releasing and letting go here. Again, with every exhalation, trying to just relax a little bit more. Two more deep breaths in and out. And then Start to have your hands come back onto the mat if they aren't already there. King pigeon, tuck the back toes under and make your way into downward facing dog and give both those hips a good shake. Eventually coming back down onto hands and knees, cross the feet behind you and let yourself come back into seated position. Again, if this is not comfortable, it's called easy pose, but it's not easy for many bodies. So if it doesn't feel good, use your cushion or several cushions underneath. Hands are down on the knees. And just breathe here for a moment. And now we're going to make our way so that we're facing the short end of the mat. We'll come into boat pose. So begin with knees bent and pay attention to the spine and the shoulders here. So really try to have the spine be as straight as possible. Shoulder blades are down the back. And have your hands hook onto the backs of your thighs. And begin to just let the legs come up a little bit and just see how that feels. And this is a version of a boat pose. If you want to take it further, you can try straightening the legs to some extent. Contract the abdomen here. It's really a strong belly pose. You can let go with the hands if you like or not. I think today it's a not for me. And then inhale one more time, and we'll exhale, letting everything come down to the mat really slow. Finding ourselves back, in lying down position. Before we move further, just noticing, how do you feel now compared to how you did at the beginning of class? We're going to do a bridge pose to get our spine moving in the opposite direction. So bend the knees, bringing the feet fairly close to the body. So if you bring your fingers forward, you can touch your heels. And have your feet be about hips width distance. And we're going to inhale the hips up into the sky, folding, tucking our shoulder blades underneath. Maybe clasping hands. Try to keep the knees in line with the hips. And as you inhale and exhale here, really try to push into the hands and lift the hips further with the tuck in the chin. One more breath in. Let go with the hands and come back down. Let there be a nice big hug to massage out your low spine. We're going to do one more bridge pose here. So feet back on the ground. Make sure your heels are in the right position. Inhale the hips high. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath. Try to have the hands clasp in the opposite way. Using those arms to really encourage the hips up straight and high. One more breath in. Exhale, let it all go. And one more very good hug with a rock in each direction on the low spine. Let the feet come down onto the mat. We're going to do a supine twist. So arms open out to a T with palms facing up. Feet are on the mat. Lift your hips and just move them about 2 inches to the left. And now bending at the knees, let the whole thing come over so ankles, knees, and thighs are stacked on top of each other. And gaze over your left shoulder. So you're in one more twist here. And breathe slowly, fully. Let yourself start to slow down. Going back into center, feet on the mat again. Lift your hips and move them a couple inches to the right, bending your knees deeply and letting your both legs bent, stacked, come over onto the left side, and now gazes over the right. And final squeeze into center. And we'll get ready for Shavasana, allowing our legs to extend fully on the mat, coming into a comfortable pose. The body cools down when we stop moving, so this is a good time to put on an extra layer or cover yourself with a blanket. And traditionally, Shavasana, which is corpse pose, is palms facing up, slightly away from the body, and feet can just splay out. And begin to really just let go of all effort. Let the breath become natural. Allowing the benefits of the practice to be consolidated during this final resting pose. Letting the toes be soft. Relaxing the foot, both sides. Letting the ankles rest. The legs are relaxed. The knees are soft. Thighs let go. The hips are heavy and totally supported on the ground. Hands let go, every finger is relaxed. Wrists, arms, elbows are all soft. Upper arms relaxed. Belly lets go. Back supported. No need to effort here. The breath flows in and out of the lungs with no effort. The shoulders have nothing to do. Let the throat relax. The jaw. Relax the cheeks, the ears, the eyes, the forehead, and the whole scalp. Feeling safe, supported, effortless. allowing the wisdom of the universe to be us. Knowing that we are right where we're supposed to be. Beginning to deepen the breath just a little bit. Making some small movements with hands and feet. Allowing the knees to bend. Eventually coming into fetal position on one side or the other. Allowing the forehead to rest on a hand or on the ground. The forehead again being the center of our intuition. Grounding that down into the ground cements our practice. Using the strength of the arms to gently allow us to come back into seated pose. Maybe the eyes remain shut. Bringing hands to heart center. Taking a moment to take stock of your body, your mind, your emotions. Raising our thumb knuckles up to the middle of our forehead. Acknowledging our inner wisdom. Inhale, and as you exhale, allow yourself to fold forward. Namaste. Namaste. Inhale back, hands to heart center, and one more time. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you. I don't know if it recorded, huh?
You did.
I'm going to be really bummed if it didn't.